And on that note, let's bring in Adam Goodman, Republican strategist. Thank you once again for joining us. Okay, so the president-elect says that these phony baloney claims came from opposition research. You delve into the world of opposition research. Tell us what that's all about, how this was developed, and how it came into play today.
Well, there's a difference in opposition research and a political campaign, where someone can make an allegation, a claim, it could even be in print somewhere, and you can roll with that. It may be enough evidence to at least get it into conversation. But opposition research, when it deals with the nation's well-being, is different. You really need to have that validated. And what we're hearing right now on the Russian and intel front is these are claims that have been made, but not validated. That's where the president-elect really took exception, not just to BuzzFeed, but by extension, one of the networks today, and I think he's got a good point.
And why would the intelligence community therefore feel the need to tell him, we've got these claims, we can't substantiate it, but just thought you ought to know there are these scandalous claims about you?
Well, the fact that it leaked out is the thing that I think most concerns people, Craig. I mean, right after the meeting, it suddenly seemed to become public knowledge. That's what irked the president-elect. And I think, you know, he said, in a way, they're selling out the interests of the country when you start
who's to say it was them? How do you know it wasn't his own
inner
circle?
We don't know. And that's where the story will start to unfold. I think we all agree. We want to look into the allegations. We all agree, wherever that takes us, and with the proper authorities. But it's when media and press sometimes gets ahead of the curve and tries to deduce what the bottom line will be. That's where I think we're going to have a new sheriff in town, where he's going to call him for jumping the gun unfairly before we really know what happened.
And not just calling them out, but calling them out directly on Twitter by speaking to them directly. And that's something that we've talked about, but I don't think that this is something that we're going to see stop as he transitions into the presidency.
There's not one Twitter feed that coming from the President of the United States that mainstream media is not going to look at every word, every time it comes out. And just as, Marissa, they've been calling out, the president-elect's been calling out the media for being more truthful and to do a more thorough job, in his opinion. He's also kind of setting lines that will not be crossed as long as he's president of the United States. One of them he's sent really to corporate America. As much as he's praised the companies that have made the moves to keep jobs in America, he also made it very clear. He said the word's out to every CEO in America that we're going to take a look at how much you're doing for America and investing in America as much as you're investing in your bottom line. That warning shot was sent out. And the final thing today, and I think this is the most refreshing thing, is a sense of urgency. He said in no uncertain terms in his press conference, we're going to get things done and get things done now. Repeal and replace within 90 days. That's going to be out for inspection and review by the U.S. Congress. The wall, we're going to get started on that now. We'll get the payment thing worked out with Mexico. We're not going to wait. And I think that restlessness is going to be kind of a signature of the Trump administration to come.
Smack down the news media, but you told me that in your follow-ups in watching the coverage, the national media followed up with facts, but facts in this case aren't enough. Why are facts now not enough to counter this?
I think social media has done a real number on all of us in terms of where we go to validate anything. President Obama said we need curators to try to determine what's truthful and what's not. I think that's an open question for all of us. But what Americans want right now, as we move into inauguration, which is a pageantry of Americanism writ large, we want to feel something. We want to feel optimistic again. And I think what Donald Trump is trying to do, in a way, is taking a page out of John Kennedy, which is that's not what the country can do for you, but what you can do for the country. And there's going to be a new oath of citizenship, in a way, that's going to be commanded and demanded of all of us to measure up. I think it's going to be a hell of a story.
I think one of the most interesting things that I found from today's press conference was the fact that he brought in his lawyer to talk about his business dealings. What point was he trying to drive home with that? We
haven't had this kind of situation. You have to go back to Nelson Rockefeller to have someone of this kind of wealth and success in the business world in a public position. I thought that was a tremendous job that was done by his legal team, frankly, in doing everything they could to reassure the American public there'd be no conflicts of interest. A lot of vetting, having an ethics advisor that would be necessary to approve any major deals coming from the Trump organization, and of course, complete hands-off. I thought that was really, actually, frankly, reassuring in very, very unknown territory for our president-elect.
You said, among other things, that you like to keep your finger on the pulse of the people. Trump said the people don't care about his tax returns. Is he right?
I think we were so consumed with the emails from Secretary Clinton. It became a definition, unfortunately, I think, for her campaign. I think it hurt her. I think Donald Trump is signaling we're not going to spend a lot of time messing around with stuff like that. Look, I put out what I think I need to put out. You know, I've got dealings all over the world. It's very, very complex. I think the American people know what they need to know. What they want, though, is they want a government that is working and functioning better and with a sense of, a strength and leadership more than ever. And I think that is what he's trying to tell the media, and that's what he's reassuring the public with.
Adam, thank you for your time.
It's going to be a hell of a show.
It is.